The morning mist clings to the Rocky Mountain peaks as federal agents storm through dense pine forests, their boots crushing fallen leaves beneath them. Somewhere in these ancient mountains, a decorated war veteran sits behind bars, framed for a crime that threatens to destroy everything he's fought to protect. His daughter races against time, her military training the only thing standing between her father and a corrupt system that reaches deeper than anyone imagines. Robert Mackenzie breathes in the crisp October air as he makes his morning patrol through the federal wilderness he's called home for 15 years. Bear, as everyone knows him, carries the quiet dignity of a man who's seen too much war and found peace in these towering pines. His weathered hands grip his walking stick as he follows a trail only he knows, checking the boundaries of the protected land he's sworn to guard. The smell hits him first, something foreign in his pristine wilderness. Following his instincts honed in Iraqi deserts, Bear moves silently through the undergrowth until he discovers it, rows upon rows of illegal plants hidden in a natural clearing, complete with irrigation systems and processing equipment. His heart sinks as he recognizes the sophisticated operation. This isn't some amateur growing a few plants. This is organized crime on federal land. Bear photographs everything with his old camera, documenting GPS coordinates and evidence of the environmental damage. The pristine mountain stream runs muddy from chemical runoff, and native plants lie trampled and dying. As he prepares to contact federal authorities, the sound of approaching vehicles echoes through the valley. Deputy Sheriff Alan Hutchinson emerges from the tree line with 3 other officers, his badge gleaming in the morning sun. But Bear's military instincts immediately recognize something wrong. The deputy's eyes hold no surprise at finding the plantation, only cold calculation. Well, Bear Mackenzie, Hutchinson drawls, his hand resting on his weapon. Caught red-handed with your little garden. Bear's voice remains steady, despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. This isn't mine, deputy. I just discovered it and was about to report it. Sure you were, Hutchinson smirks, producing handcuffs. Funny how the anonymous tip we received described you perfectly. Robert Mackenzie, you're under arrest for cultivation of controlled substances on federal property. 2,000 miles away, in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Major Patricia Mackenzie stares at her phone in disbelief. Her father's voice crackles through the static of the jail's payphone, each word carefully measured to avoid the listening ears of guards. They're saying I've been growing plants on federal land, Patty. Bear's voice carries the same calm he used when teaching her to track wildlife as a child. But you know your old man better than that. Patricia's mind races through possibilities, her environmental investigation training kicking into high gear. Dad, don't say anything else over this line. I'm coming home. Within 6 hours, Patricia sits across from her father in the county jail's visiting room. The fluorescent lights cast harsh shadows on Bear's face, but his eyes remain clear and determined. She studies the arrest report, her trained eye catching inconsistencies immediately. The anonymous tip came in at exactly the same time you would have been discovering the site, she whispers, leaning forward. Dad, this was planned. Bear nods grimly. I've been thinking the same thing. Someone's been watching my routines, knows when I do my morning patrols. Patricia's jaw tightens as she recognizes the signs of a cover-up. Her years investigating environmental crimes have shown her how corruption spreads like wildfire when big money meets weak morals. I'm going to find out who did this to you. Be careful, sweetheart. Bear reaches across the table, his calloused hands covering hers. If they're willing to frame me, they won't hesitate to come after you. Patricia begins her investigation in the town of Cedar Ridge, population 3,000, where everyone knows everyone's business. She walks the main street, her military bearing drawing curious glances from locals who remember her as Bear's little girl who could outtrack any grown man. At Murphy's Diner, the morning coffee crowd grows silent when she enters. Patricia orders black coffee and listens to the whispered conversations around her. Fear hangs in the air like smoke from the kitchen's grill. People are scared, Sally Murphy, the owner, confides while wiping down the counter. There's been talk about federal agents asking questions, and folks worry about their jobs at the timber mill. Patricia's investigation leads her to discover a web of corruption involving local politicians, law enforcement, and out-of-state criminal organizations using federal land for their operations. The illegal growing operation generates millions of dollars annually, with profits flowing to bank accounts in Denver and beyond. Deputy Hutchinson appears at her motel room door that evening, his smile as cold as the mountain air. Major Mackenzie, heard you were in town asking questions. Just visiting my father, Patricia replies, her hand instinctively moving to her sidearm. Might want to keep those visits short. Hutchinson steps closer, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. Accidents happen in these mountains. People get lost, fall off cliffs. Shame if something happened to Bear's only daughter. Patricia meets his gaze without flinching. Is that a threat, deputy? Just friendly advice. Hutchinson tips his hat. This town takes care of its own, but outsiders, well, they don't always fare so well. That night, Patricia sits in her rental car overlooking the valley where her father was arrested. The weight of her investigation presses down on her shoulders like the mountain mist. She's uncovered evidence of a corrupt corruption network that reaches from local law enforcement to state politicians, but proving it means risking everything. Her phone buzzes with a text from her commanding officer. Mackenzie, need you back at base. Cannot extend your leave. Patricia stares at the message, torn between her military duty and her family loyalty. The evidence she's gathered could free her father, but it could also end her career and put her life in danger. The girl who once promised her father she'd always do the right thing now faces the hardest decision of her life. She thinks of Bear teaching her to read animal tracks in the snow, showing her how to find truth in the smallest details. The mountain doesn't lie, Patty, he'd say. It tells the truth to those who know how to listen. Patricia makes her choice. She drives through the night to Denver, where she presents her evidence to the FBI field office. Agent Sarah Chen, a corruption specialist, reviews Patricia's documentation with growing amazement. Major Mackenzie, this is exactly what we've been looking for. Agent Chen spreads the photographs across her desk. We've suspected this operation for months, but couldn't get close enough to gather evidence. Will this free my father? Patricia asks, exhaustion evident in her voice. It'll do more than that. Chen's eyes harden with determination. It'll bring down the entire network. Dawn breaks over the Rocky Mountains as federal agents move in coordinated strikes across 3 states. Patricia stands beside Agent Chan on a ridge overlooking the illegal plantation, watching as evidence teams document everything her father discovered. Below them, Deputy Hutchinson sits in handcuffs, his corrupt empire crumbling around him. The investigation reveals a network involving 12 law enforcement officers, 6 politicians, and multiple criminal organizations, generating over $20 million annually from federal land. Bear Mackenzie walks free from the county jail as the sun reaches its peak, his daughter waiting for him on the courthouse steps. The charges against him have been dropped, and the county has issued a formal apology. More importantly, the federal government has offered him a position as a special investigator for environmental crimes. I'm proud of you, Patty. Bear embraces his daughter, his voice thick with emotion. You did what was right, even when it was hard. I learned from the best, Patricia replies, looking out at the mountains that have shaped both their lives. The mountain doesn't lie, right? Father and daughter stand together, watching the morning light illuminate the peaks they've both sworn to protect. The corruption that nearly destroyed their family has been exposed, but more importantly, their bond has emerged stronger than ever. 3 months later, Bear testifies before Congress about environmental crimes on federal land, while Patricia receives a commendation for her investigation. Their story becomes a symbol of how ordinary people can stand up to corruption when they refuse to compromise their values. The Colorado mountains stand eternal, their peaks touching the sky, keeping watch over those who love them enough to fight for their protection. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story might inspire someone else facing their own mountain to climb. If stories of real courage and family bonds resonate with you, hit that subscribe button and join our community of viewers who believe that integrity and love can overcome even the most powerful corruption. Your subscription helps us bring you more stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Because sometimes, the most powerful force in the world isn't money or politics. It's a family that refuses to give up on each other.